Popular Twitch streamer Dr. Disrespect was suspended from Twitch, apparently permanently, on June 26th of 2020. No one really knows why, and both Dr. Disrespect and Twitch have been pretty tight-lipped on the whole ordeal. Now, while they have said some things, let's talk about what they're not saying and how that relates to contract law. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Lawsplaining the Interwebs. I'm your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. And today we're talking about Dr. Disrespect being suspended from Twitch with no apparent reasons given, and speculating a little bit with some, I don't know if it's legal insight, but legal thoughts related to the idea that this is a contract case at the core, and seeing if we can figure out what is not being said. First, let's take a look at really the only information we have about this ban coming from Dr. Disrespect himself. He says, Champions Club, Twitch has not notified me on the specific reason behind their decision. Firm handshakes to all for the support during this difficult time. Dr. Disrespect. That's it. That's all we know. Now, Twitch, when they're pressed on this by various journalists, have given a general statement stating that we attempt to resolve all issues that appear to be community guidelines violations, no matter the prominence of the Twitch streamer. And that's it. That's all of the statement that we have. So that's not much to go off of, and everybody is wondering why. Dr. Disrespect is one of the largest, most popular streamers on Twitch. He had signed a contract with them for millions and millions of dollars, apparently, although we don't know that for sure, but purportedly for millions of dollars in some sort of exclusivity of streaming, so that he would stream exclusively on Twitch, not go somewhere like YouTube Gaming, Mixer, rest in peace, or Facebook Gaming or something like that. So this is what we need to keep in mind when we look at everything. At the end of the day, and at the end of all of these discussions, there is purportedly a multi-million-dollar contract and two parties that stand to gain or lose millions of dollars based on the outcome of what happens. So as we have that information arming us, let's take a look at the situation and let's take a look at the actions of Twitch in general. Now, Twitch is no stranger to banning or suspending people for violations of their community guidelines. They have incidents such as nudity, either intentional or unintentional nudity, causing temporary bans. Sexually revealing clothing can cause temporary or permanent bans. Various breaches of community guidelines around speech, such as hate speech, racial slurs, all have the potential to carry bans of varying durations, right? And Twitch is a lot of times it's pretty obvious why someone was banned. There was a stream that happened, something occurs in the stream, that stream gets reported or is picked up by Twitch independently, and the streamer receives a multi-day ban, and they tend to disclose the reason for the ban. Now, why is that? That's because there's no confidentiality duty in the Twitch partner agreement. But Dr. Disrespect isn't a normal Twitch partner. Signing an exclusive contract puts him in a different category, and we don't get to use the same sort of, or I guess it's not we don't get to use, we're not privy to the same sort of information that would come out from someone who has no obligation and very little detriment to disclosing the reasons for their suspension. In fact, arguably, Twitch would want your average streamer who gets removed from the platform temporarily to disclose those reasons so that it's clear to the community what violations were occurring, so that the community itself doesn't incur those same violations. Now, bans on platforms, social media platforms, are a calculated risk by the platform. And that's something else to remember as well, in that there is a person who's achieved some level of prominence, be it 1,000 followers, be it 1 million followers. on this platform. Removing that person from the platform, even temporarily, carries with it an implied necessity of justice, right? Okay, they violated the community guidelines because they came out full nude. Okay, we get that. We understand that. Okay, they used a bunch of racially insensitive language or something. People may not like it, but they can understand the platform's impetus for doing so based on ad revenue and all of that stuff. Those sorts of bans are very apparent, and each one of those is a calculated risk. As I was saying, because you've got some amount of people who like the person that they're watching. So when you ban them, you have potentially angered thousands of customers who are your paying customers. The Twitch producers, content creators, myself included, you can check me out on twitch.tv/Rekieta Law, which is down in the description. We are merely independent contractors who work along with Twitch. We don't belong to Twitch. We don't owe many obligations to Twitch, and Twitch owes very little obligation back to us. So we are, in a sense, we're contractors, but the real money-making arm of Twitch are the people who watch the contractors perform and use Twitch's currency, purchase Twitch's currency to give donations. They watch the ads, they consume that content, and that's what keeps the platform afloat. So angering that portion, any portion of your customer base, is always a risk. So all of these bans are that calculated risk. And like I said, normally the transparency of the ban would be beneficial to Twitch because it would be a clear violation of Twitch's community guidelines. Now, how do we bring this back to Dr. Disrespect? I know. That's a good question. Let's take a look again. Twitch has not notified me on the specific reason behind their decision. I think there's something to be explored here on that specific wording that he's using. Remembering that Dr. Disrespect, while being just a guy, is producing a multi-million-dollar show. At the end of the day, that's what this is. It's a production. There's likely some sort of team involved. This is a business operation, and now it's a business in negotiation with another business in a contract dispute. So, did Dr. Disrespect intentionally use the word specific? I can't say for sure, but I can really speculate that he did. And that means that Twitch has probably given him some general reasoning behind the decision. Why is this important? It's important because Dr. Disrespect knows at the end of the day, likely, what violation of what particular clause of his contract is alleged against him. Now, he may not have a specific thing, but if they say, look, you breached your morality clause, as some people have speculated, there's some sort of accusations of either sexual impropriety or infidelity or something stemming at the root of all of this, then perhaps it's a morality clause that Twitch has decided that he has broken. Now, he may not know which specific immoral act he has done to breach the agreement, but he'll know that he's being accused of breaching the morality clause. Why isn't he disclosing that? Let's talk very briefly about contracts. Contracts between, let me caveat this. Highly competitive contracts between a single entity like Twitch, or say a distribution center, or a retail chain like Walmart, for example, and their individual contractors, right? The other businesses that they do deals with, those are competitive contracts. Some other streamer would have material interest in finding out what exactly is in Dr. Disrespect's contract, because when Twitch comes to negotiate with the new streamer, that streamer will say, hey, this guy got this, and I'm at least as cool as him, so now I want you to give me the same thing or more, right? That would be the idea. So there's an interest for Twitch and Dr. Disrespect to have confidentiality of their agreements. Dr. Disrespect would want to have confidentiality from Twitch in the same way, because he doesn't want other streamers or other platforms knowing how much Twitch has given him. What if at the end of his contract, he wants to go negotiate with, say, Facebook Gaming, and negotiate something else. It's in his interest that Facebook Gaming doesn't know the underlying terms of his contract with Twitch. That only makes sense. So they each have an interest in that confidentiality, and therefore that confidentiality is almost assuredly a portion of the contract. Where does all this tie in? Well, it ties in with this simple idea that Dr. Disrespect and Twitch are probably holding on to as two business entities. And again, it's important to remember that these are two business entities at the end of the day. The remedy for a contract dispute in business is simply doing more business. That is the easiest remedy. It washes away hurt feelings really quickly when you get back into making money together. And it is mutually beneficial oftentimes for two contract disputing parties that are both business entities to go ahead and resolve it by making a new deal, which could be renegotiating the old deal, which could be reinstating the old deal, could be negotiating an entirely new deal. One party suddenly has leverage over the other due to a perceived breach, and then you are now at the stage of negotiations again. And I think that's likely what's going on here. So why doesn't Dr. Disrespect state even the vague reason that he almost has to have at this point as to what provision of his contract that he breached, what guidelines were violated, and why hasn't Twitch actually said anything? It's because they both have an interest in keeping it quiet in the short run and possibly in the long run. So if they are in fact negotiating, and I would wager they are attempting to work this out, one, because Twitch runs the risk at this point of angering millions of fans of Dr. Disrespect. And Dr. Disrespect right now runs the risk of losing millions of dollars in contract money and guaranteed money on top of whatever partner agreement he has with Twitch as well. He stands to lose all of that. Twitch stands to anger a significant portion of their customer base, and by throwing off one of their top streamers, they're probably in negotiations. Now, how do we make this work? What public statements can be made to patch this up? If it is salvageable, are there any other parties involved in this dispute that are causing the trouble, and what can be done to appease that party? All of these negotiations are likely taking place. Now, does that mean we'll ever get to hear the answers on this? No. No, you may never. Especially if Dr. Disrespect is allowed to return to Twitch, you will probably never figure out the specific accounts unless there's some sort of internal leak, and that would be a problem for Dr. Disrespect and Twitch. Both parties will be highly incentivized to keep this as quiet as possible within their respective operations, as well as to the public. Now, the other aspect that is an element of this, and something that, again, Twitch has to be very, very careful with, and why this allegation is likely different from the allegations from bannings of people like Alinity or something else for some simple breach of the community guidelines, is if there is a breach of the morality clause, hypothetically, for something like sexual impropriety, an allegation of sexual assault, something like that, and were Twitch to make a public statement about that, and it were untrue, whereas like maybe it's just an allegation of sexual assault, and then after investigation, that allegation ends up not playing out, or after a criminal case, Dr. Disrespect ends up winning and being acquitted of any charges or having the charges dismissed. If Twitch makes a statement about some alleged sexual impropriety, they're now treading into the territory of defamation, and it would be per se defamation, which means that Dr. Disrespect would have significantly reduced hurdles in bringing a defamation case against them in the event that the allegations were false. And that could be extremely damaging to Twitch, not only in the millions of dollars of contracts breach that would remedies that would be potentially that he would be able to recover under a breach of contract action, but the further damage that Twitch would have done to his reputation by making an alleged defamatory statement. So where does this bring us? This brings us to the idea that the allegations of the whatever breach has occurred for Dr. Disrespect are beyond some simple community guidelines allegations that you would expect against your average Twitch streamer, even your average very popular Twitch partners, right? Violations of community guidelines are something that are really easy for Twitch to announce or to let the streamer go ahead and announce, and so they will disclose it without much issue. Also, right now, final thing to kind of wrap into this, Twitch just banned, as a virtue signal, several accounts, including, I believe, Donald Trump's account, right? Right now, there's a big movement going on for posterity's sake. It's June 30th of 2020. There's a big movement going on in the US raising questions about race relations, gender relations. You have the Black Lives Matter protests and activists going on. You have a significant Me Too moment in the video game and entertainment industry, with lots of allegations being thrown around very publicly about some very popular people. And there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. Twitch absolutely could make this a virtue signaling banning. They would have all sorts of grounds to do that if it were some simple violation of community guidelines that aligned with some sort of idea of public decency. Whether that idea was ill-conceived or not is really irrelevant. The popular chatter right now is around the idea of equality of race, equality of sex, and equality of gender. We've got a confluence of those issues hitting all at the same time, and Twitch would have every reason, based on Twitch's other activities when it comes to suspensions, for informing the public at large that they are taking steps to appease these three particular movements, if that were the allegations against Dr. Disrespect. That tells me it's probably something different. It's probably not your standard community guidelines fare that Twitch is regularly in the news for. It is probably something along the lines of a breach of Dr. Disrespect's specific contract, and what is in there, again, is confidential, and we can only speculate. But with that speculation comes along some good hints that there's some sort of allegation out there that would be damaging to Dr. Disrespect if Twitch released it, and it would similarly be risky of them to do so. So I hope that helps you kind of frame your mind around this with just the perspective of me. I'm a humble lawyer, and adding in sort of these elements of contract that are involved that I think a lot of people are overlooking when they're looking at this situation. I want to recap those real quick, just because I tend to ramble, and let me summarize them very simply. Dr. Disrespect and Twitch are two business entities engaged in a business contract. Dr. Disrespect, as a business entity with an exclusive contract with Twitch, puts him at a level above other very popular Twitch partners that would follow the general partnership agreement, and therefore we can conclude that there is a confidential contract between Dr. Disrespect and Twitch, and that confidential contract has some different provisions involved. One of them being obviously an exclusive set of money to be paid regardless of the performance of the channel, or maybe based on meeting certain conditions on his channel. And two, that there's some sort of probably additional hoops that he would have to jump through in regards to something like a morality clause, as Dr. Disrespect is becoming more of a brand representative of Twitch in that exclusive agreement. So, wrapping all of that in, we know that we probably will not get specific information, at least while negotiations are pending. And as these are two business entities with a contractual dispute, there's likely some sort of negotiation going on about how they can potentially mend or repair the business relationship and continue forward, making each other lots of money in the process, or whether they do indeed have to finally sever the connection entirely. Right now, it's called a permanent suspension, but in the age of an exclusive contract, a permanent suspension is merely a moniker for permanent for now. there's every possibility that negotiations or a lawsuit will stem from this action, and that will change that permanent status into either not permanent at all, even retroactive instatement, or potentially some new agreement going forward. So I hope that helps you think about this issue a little bit differently than any of the publications I've seen coming out about it. I have not been able to find anybody even considering the fact that he has contracts and that there's probably some sort of negotiation going on. And that's why he has some very specific language making his statements non-specific, and why Twitch has been completely tight-lipped about the reasons, when in many, many other instances of deplatforming, Twitch is pretty open, or at least the streamer is pretty open about what reasons they received from Twitch. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope this helps you frame the context of the discussion a little bit. And I hope you go ahead and like it and share it and subscribe if you're not. Hope you have a good day. Peace. Peace.